Alrighty, hey, as we are coming in, and hopefully our insanity is going to be okay. My lovelies, if there's any audio notes, try to get that fixed because we didn't have testing quite
We
working.
tried and it didn't work well.
We're going. I think we're all right.
We're
Maybe
all right.
we might be all right, but
Oh, look, my on-air sign. If I move
yeah, it sort of appears behind you when you wave your head. But hello, everyone. Make sure you say hi. This is GMBalogh and Art Department as we are getting our
because
stuff.
nobody loved us enough to play tonight.
No one would play Open with us. Everybody has things they're doing in that particular campaign.
Lives. Ugh.
So,
What's wrong with you
end
people?
up doing various things. So we'll get some Nordic fun
Hi,
going.
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
We have absolutely no topic in mind. We just figured we'd get on here and flirt with each other until people decided they wanted to join us and talk to us.
Yeah, better. All right. So with that, like I can actually remove my headphones.
Oh,
I know it's crazy,
no!
but
You
I think
look
all the
too cute
roses
with them
there.
off. Put them back on.
Yeah. All right. So we're here chilling and talking for various things. We got stuff coming up, including us. So secret thing that might go into some of the memorabilia boxes. And
We're
offer.
good to work.
Yeah. Trying to make a new technology work, which we will. Always working with the new techs.
I mean, if nothing else fails, you just go to that episode of
And all
that
the stuff.
movie Office Space. Just bat.
That's true. Hey, Jonathan.
Hello.
But yeah,
This is part one of art department getting the art department back to where it needs to be.
Indeed.
We've got 3 phases. Phase 1 is done. Phase 2 will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Phase 3, hopefully by Wednesday, you'll be looking at Matt in a new angle if we get it going right.
Yeah, we're working on that a little bit, trying to update the board and all that type of stuff. So you'll see things like that.
Certain nights like to do maps that are like, I'm going to chase this thing for 300 feet. My table is not long enough for you all to chase it 300 feet, so we have to fix that.
Yeah, I think
it's got to be fixed.
Let me think here.
I'm going to put my legs up. Ooh, I just shook the whole table.
Yeah, I believe what we're looking at might be over 400 feet in scale for, like, that's how big of a map should fit.
Yeah, I think so.
I think.
And it's going to be wider, too. I think it's about... bigger. It's wider, too. I think it's like 150 wide.
Yeah, so I think in D&D terms, it would be like 150 feet wide, 400 feet long as far as...
Yeah, now you could really chase after dragons.
Yeah. So it would be wide shots going through that. Depending, we got to get all set up, but...
Hey, that's my goal.
The table.
It's my goal. We'll see what happens between migraines, loss of feelings, and the kids randomly having seizures on me, you know.
That is new. And then it's been announced on SBG. So there are a ton of Dragonheart Linda plays and a few campaigns coming up.
Which we also need to sit down and have a conversation about what I'm going to make as a board for Dragonheart.
The Daggerheart.
Dragonheart. Oops, wrong one.
Daggerheart table.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to be able to answer any questions on any of that, including Daggerheart. And we're going to talk to Art Department about it because she doesn't know much about Daggerheart. So here's me trying to explain it to Daggerheart.
Both nice, and I'm upset because no one's died this spring except one person.
Yeah. 2. Someone died Sunday.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Shiva, one of them, Shiva, Vashira, Jackie's character, died.
God damn it, the new mini I just made.
Yeah. I didn't even kill her. They have a feature that basically allows themselves to self-sacrifice. So it's not my fault.
Okay, well, I got to make that character.
That was entirely into their hands. Yeah, 2 characters, same player.
It's true. It's all good. It's all good.
It's true. But
hey, yeah, Friday night. I still need that mini. Somebody go bother her. Yeah. Oh, so Declan, you're on my shit list. leaving Friday night. I just made something for you, and you're
Oh,
never gonna
that's
see it
true.
now. So fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, fun note because I cannot play with us. But there is this thing that was made just for Zill
Yeah.
that is now going to sit on the shelf unused.
Yeah, one shot, and y'all are gonna get married in it.
We had this whole set just, but
Just for
no, we're
fine.
gone. No, real
I
life.
like to pretend that he's off preparing for the wedding.
Indeed. Which, incidentally, if you want to get into some Vecna insanity, you can go ahead and do so and we do have a Friday night open.
Yeah.
Of course, do other questions
I gotta
and
get
comments
the
as
printers
well.
going so that I can finish up some minis for Friday night, but that's so low on my list.
Yeah. But yes, some people are asking what Daggerheart kind of is trying to get an idea behind it, and it's very similar to D&D, as far as like I would say the world that you do get to make. But whereas at least in its purest form, whereas D&D a lot of times you kind of come into a pre-established setting. When you sit around the table of Daggerheart, you kind of make the setting together. The GM.
So like it's a complete session 0 that just keeps going.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So you'd sit around, the GM would kind of get everyone's stuff and would lead that and construct it into something usable. And you'd have a map of the world, basically, or your sandbox type of deal. And then you'd begin to name places together and kind of sketch that out. So what's really cool about Daggerheart is you could decide to do like a post-apocalyptic thing that, okay, whatever we are, the races we are because of mutations of humans. Like, oh, what's that? The Shannara Chronicles? That was basically like that. Someone help me out if I have that right. But I think it was Shannara that basically was that you.
As long as it's not like Witchblade, where we reset and everything gets backtracked a whole season.
I'm never gonna do something like Witchblade in my life.
We got some issues with the Witchblade.
I have issues with that series in my childhood. But
not alone.
But yeah, I think the Chronicle of Shannara is where the whole idea is like this, it's like more or less post-apocalyptic, and you had like a bloodline, like those humans, and the humans become like trolls and other races.
Bobby says you're right. I trust Bobby. Thank you, Bobby.
But I think the elves are separate from that because they were like a hidden race.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If humans were in any kind of thing where there were other races, we would be responsible for 99.9% of half-breeds.
Oh yes, that's probably true. What was that? The Doctor Who, like the omnisexual of the
yeah.
of
humans. They went out.
Humans. They went out and danced and danced.
So, if you really think about it.
Indeed. But yeah, but you could essentially do that very easily with that because I know what would be cool is like you've got like a city map and then just add little embellishments to make it kind of more fantasy or after.
So you're gonna make me do map making again?
You could do all types of things, right? So you could go to like a map of like Cleveland, for instance. And then you could kind of go in that, right? Or like a college. I used to always do this at college. When I was at college, we'd take like the college map.
That's because Athens is screwed up.
Well, yeah, Athens, Ohio. Look it up. We're screwed up place. But Athens, Ohio, you could take like the whole map. Incidentally, because there's like 5 graveyards that form like a perfect pentacle or nearly perfect pentacle around the campus. The campus is at the center, so theoretically a protected area. It's a thing.
Mind you, where is
true fact?
What is Ohio University on the foothills of?
Oh, Appalachia.
It's fired. Do not go there.
Yes, foothills of Appalachia is where I went to college. Nice place, but it was explains so many things. But incidentally, anything kind of really cool like that, you could use this setting. So easily do something like that, or you could do more traditional fantasy. Or really anything you can think of with it. And use that idea with magic and that type of stuff. It's not like an open system like a Cypher or something like that. It's made to be fantasy, but you could take that, the again, post-apocalyptic fantasy. You could do modern fantasy. You
hard
could
word.
do ancient fantasy. Whatever you want to do. And
Can
then
we do
there's
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
you could, and then there's
No idea why that came in my
a
head.
lot of fun ideas. Like you could do more horror fantasy or dark fantasy. Those of us who have done some of my anime games, like you could take it that direction and use that. And you would but see, at System Zero, the idea is you'd all get around and go, what is this idea in this Daggerheart game that we're going to play? What are the tent posts, right?
Yeah.
Around it, the beats we really want to make sure we hit, and then we build our characters, build our world, even like kind of help design the BBG a little bit, especially the look is kind of the big thing. Like, what's their look? What's their vibe? Vibe is like a popular thing that they would use.
Am I making miniatures for this? People's characters?
So yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think we would do that. I was trying to think of it like all TTOM or Theater of the Mind, but like it's not going to work.
Not with us.
It's just not going to work. I think it's pretty, because like, so they use things like very close, which is like 5 feet, then close, which is like 10 feet, and then like.
So they use some of the like measurements of Cypher, but they're more like a D&D campaign.
Yeah,
they're a blend. They're the love child of D&D and Cypher.
Yeah, I'd say so. Daggerheart, love child of D&D and Cypher. You heard it here. And,
I mean, D&D gets around, so.
Yeah, I actually do think it's really accurate. And it's technically a D12 system, and you roll them. And by the way, all this is playtest information that I'm sharing.
Yeah, we're not sharing any secrets.
Why don't know any secrets? But
I know secrets.
But
all of them are about you.
But we would be. But most of this, I believe, is transferring over from what I understand. But I think there is 8 days until it releases. The concept of the campaign frames. Yeah, that's basically what it is, right? This is what I'm talking about. They have all the frames, but you could really make your own frame and make that so that it works out well. But that's what's kind of, everyone gets together and go, here's how we're going to play our campaign. Here's how, kind of how long it's going to last, And so it's really this thing, if you wanted to play Daggerheart for a summer, like here at GMBalogh, we would just do that. And we'd go, cool, what's the progression? We want to get from 1 to 10, because 10's the max level there. And so, awesome. Are we playing 20 weeks? Every 2 weeks
not 20 weeks.
is a level. I know, I'm just kind of throwing it out there. We're depending how you...
Are you in the Phineas Ferb world where summer is like a year long? Or 3 years long?
Indeed. But
you know they're making a new Phineas and Ferb movie?
There's a movie. I think it's a new season.
Sorry, distracted you.
No, I'm very excited about the Phineas and Ferb new season. That is on my to watch list, to be honest. Incidentally, my nonverbal child will sing the words. The nonverbal child can sing the words to that opening song to tell you how amazing it is. Very strange, but can't say that. True story. The concept of frames, I think, is very fun. So you do all that, and then you begin to make your characters based off of that. So they have these ideas. So, like one really cool thing, for instance, you could do when you're making it. Let's say, depending on what map you're using, you'd point to like a mountain, and someone would say a dragon lives at that mountain. Awesome. And somebody else would say, okay, this lives here. There's all these series of questions. Very similar, by the way, to if you play with me at a lot of my campaign creation. I always like adulterate and make my kind of own version of the Quiet Year, which is a map making game and content creation game. That's very fun. That you draw maps and do all those types of things, and you in that game you essentially make the year before an apocalyptic event happens, more or less.
Or you screw all of Wednesday by making them do a 3-shot, and then you tell them at the very end of it that it's going to affect what happens in the very first episode of their new season. Yeah,
and it does. But yeah, and so I would say Daggerheart borrows very heavily from Quiet Year. It's clearly influenced by it in this creation in order to make it. So if you like that type of stuff of what we've done here, you'd like Daggerheart. it's worked into the system. And so that's, I think, the thing with Daggerheart, I would say, is it more or less is written down and kind of find a lot of the things that GMs like me have been doing for a lot of years. In a lot of our games, like that we've slowly developed, done it. They kind of like are truly making it into a thing, and it's superior, in my opinion, to a lot of the systems like Go by Moonlight, Monster of the Week, Blaze in the Dark, kind of that they can sound similar to. And the reason is because they actually put in systems for you to role play and have an interesting story.
Yeah.
So you can kind of follow the system. Like you can still do all your own stuff, all your free things that you love to do in D&D, but you can, if you want, kind of come to the system and it really walks you through making really cool decisions that make a really cool story.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of those other systems I just named, there's this little book that says, there's always a sentence that kind of says, well, if you're going to, when you make a decision, make an interesting one. When you make a decision, make one that's going to be a good story. And that's like all it does.
So that's how you decided to marry me?
Big go. But,
don't worry.
I know. But, they just kind of say that and they leave it out there as if everyone who plays is a storytelling master or something, or knows what's going to be interesting, or know what's going to be fun for the table. And then often what you're trying to do at a table is everyone trying to learn or figure out what is actually fun, and it's a little messy. You can do it, but in other words, I feel like they kind of assume that everybody is like really, really good friends and known each other forever. Whereas Daggerheart does a really good job, in my opinion, at least in the playtest, of, and I'm assuming number one, making it happen so that you can follow the system and make a really cool story. And anything that any knowledge you have, any storytelling expertise that you have is going to come in and make it even better.
Yeah.
Is going to build right on top of what you already have. So that's my Daggerheart. I would love Daggerheart questions or any questions about like what's coming up. We do have that. Incidentally, I think we'll be opening up some things for Obujima if anyone wants to get on the Obujima games, because we had a little bit of
make me make more weird ass things like a kale tree.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to do some learn to play Daggerhearts. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have some campaign Daggerhearts, and again, like a whole fun thing where we can kind of go and decide how many weeks we're going to play. So the way the thing works, I'm going to tell you. So it's a 2d12 system.
Yeah.
So that's how you 2d12 plus modifier gets you your roll on like basically DCs.
Okay.
Right, difficulty checks. And one dice is your hope dice.
I know you told me this. Yeah, I understood. You can keep talking though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and you get all your hope, which is a resource you can use and spend to do cool things. And then there's a fear dice. Whereas if you roll, you get it to be if it's higher, then the GM gets a fear point to spend to make your life awful. But incidentally, it also kind of says, well, so what it kind of does is that if you kind of succeed with fear, it's like a success with consequences.
Yes.
And then if you fail with fear, it's like, oh no, type of thing happening, and fear generates, and fear powers combat.
Right.
That's like how people get to be moves. And in combat, like the heroes get to act continuously until they fail a roll or until they get a fear.
Why do you let Josh play this game? Josh is like only second to Alex and rolling ones.
Yeah. And when I see it work, it's really, really fun. And it just makes a story because there's like moves that like your enemies can't do unless they have so many fear or whatever. You know, how am I going to get that? And then suddenly you actually get that much fear and they can do the move. But it's all because of what your heroes were doing. So it makes the flow and narrative of the combat pretty even.
Okay.
So basically, if there's 5 misses or 5 fails in a row, then the enemies will basically activate one time after each one. So it's like blow, 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 blow. Like, oh, they missed, so they punch you in the ribs, and oh, this sword missed, so the fireball comes from the side. All these really cool things begin to happen.
Cool.
But if it's more of a flow of where the heroes have just been succeeding and doing everything, this counter's going up to how much power they have.
Okay.
The enemies have, basically. And then when the fail happens, boom! Like, it could be they all get something crazy, or like it powers up a special move, basically. So it's like, haha, fire the Death Star cannon or whatever. So
I don't think you're allowed to say that.
No. But that, so again, it makes a really fun narrative flow with those things. So it's kind of like succeed, oh, but here's a big thing. So waves back and forth. So it's a lot of fun that way.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Those are kind of like the major things. Then beyond that, there's like classes, subclasses, all the fun that you'd expect out of something modeled after D&D.
Yeah.
You have multiple spells, multiple abilities. They all can do various things. They're written in narrative format. But one thing I really enjoy is their resting. Is how they work short long rests.
Really?
Well, because of the narrative idea, right? So again, it's all made to make a narrative. So in D&D, a lot of times it's like, this is going to happen in 6 days. And you have these 6 days, and someone does something, go, what time of day is it? Well, I guess that took 3 hours, the GM says, and that took 4 hours.
To tell us how many days have passed.
It's true.
We don't pay attention.
But then you get to, eventually you get to the point where, like, you might have to take a long rest now because you've done 8 hours because of whatever we wanted to do, and all of a sudden you use 4 out of the days, but then they forget that it's a week's travel to get there, and it screws everything.
You, Bobby asked what you thought about the character creation.
Go. We'll put a pin in what I was saying. Welcome to Art Department. We talking. That's how we do things. What do I think about character creation? I really I like it. To me, well, I've only done Demiplane, and so I think everything I've used have done digital tools. Some people say they think it's a little much physical. I've heard, but that's because you have a lot of cards and things.
Oh yeah.
But which I think actually would make it a lot easier personally. But depending on what type of person you are, but you get to have your races. Basically, any race you imagine in D&D is there, including like some different ones.
Penguin?
I mean, you could easily make a Bengal and make their society, but
fishermen? Like, they're actually fish, but they're men.
I mean, there's turtles.
Turtles. Those are turtles. I want fish people.
Fish people. I mean, you could easily just...
Not mermaids. I mean, full fish people.
But, again, you choose, like, there's, like, 6 stats you would choose from, and each one does about 3 things. And I think what I really like about creation is that because it has, like, your 6 stats, and then 3 kind of activities you do at each one, you very easily, as a character, see what you're going to be good at. Yeah. And when you're doing
mushroom people, they have those. We've got those. What are they called?
Myconids?
Myconids. I can't say it right, yeah. Bobby. Don't try to make me say words I can't say.
But yeah. But you put your things there, and then you add a little bit, like, characters really fast, because you're just like, here's my class, here's where I want to be a little bit good. What's really fun, what I like about character creation, my favorite part, is you get to name experiences.
Oh, okay.
And if you feel like your experience would cover what you're about to do, you expend a hope, and you get +2 on the roll.
That's smart.
So it's like, well, it's like the constant thing was like, well, my character, because it happens to D&D all the time, right? D&D all the time, where people are like, well, isn't my character from this city, and wouldn't they kind of know that or know this, and you're like, okay, yeah, I guess, and you're gonna go back and forth.
Dead for 100 years.
But in this case, people go, well, would I know that? Cool. You do a knowledge roll, and you're like, right, but if your experience is raised in the city of Ooga Booga, and you're going for the Ooga Booga Arcana, you can go ahead and spend a hope and get that bonus.
Yeah, that's a great mechanic.
For being from there. And anything that has to do with being from Ooga Booga.
We really have a place called GMBalogh, or you
I
just
mean,
messing
we
with
can
me.
make one up when you do the game.
Okay, but someone has to play a skeleton.
Just like the humongous fungus from one of the games this week.
Shut up, he's cute.
Yeah.
I think all my babies are cute though. So.
Oh, it's Wednesday, humongous fungus, right?
Yeah.
So it's humongous fungus troll.
Yeah, I think that's Wednesday, right?
Yeah. But anyway, that
That
is
was
really
Wednesday.
that's really cool. Another little move that is in the beta playtest. I haven't seen when it happens in. I was suggesting Gabuga as the city name. Hello, Wrigley. One other really cool thing is I said hello to Wrigley. I lost my train of thought. I was saying
You talked
oh.
about characters.
you can tag team in the beta in the playtest.
Yeah, you can Colossus Wolverine and just.
Yeah, the classic Colossus Wolverine move that we all know and love.
Okay, side note.
Or was it Cyclops Captain America shield?
No, side note. Okay, because Wolverine's also done it with Hulk, but he does it with She-Hulk. Have you ever seen that comic?
I've not. What's the difference between She-Hulk and Wolverine does it with them?
It's just like, she's all like, you did this with big guy, right? And he's like, yeah. She's like, you have a really firm butt. He's like, we don't talk about this. Side note, I love it. It's still funny to me because it's like, just curl up in their hand. Sorry.
Amazing.
Sorry.
I like that. You're good. Okay.
For now.
Yeah, I think in video game they can do it with Juggernaut too.
Yeah.
It does that.
Everyone tosses Wolverine. I mean, come on.
But anyway, you can do that it's in the beta test of Dagger Art.
Not necessarily that move, but yes, you could team up.
Or you could name that move, right? You could name a move, and it's how it works. So how it works
And they do
is
stuff.
one person you can spend in I think it's 3 hope, and then both people roll for the move they're trying to do. So like in this example where who's throwing Wolverine? Is Hulk throwing Wolverine?
Hulk. Yeah, sure. We'll do Hulk.
Hulk's throwing Wolverine. All right. So basically, Hulk's like, I want to throw this projectile Wolverine into the enemy and just is going to smash them to adamantium skeleton. Fantastic. So they're going to do their throw roll. And then we've got Wolverine who's going to go, okay, I'm going to get thrown and I'm going to slash. That's what I'm going to do. Cool. You're going to do the roll for your slash attack. And one of them spends 3 hope to make it a tag team, and they both roll. And the way it works is if the person who has the best roll, that roll counts for both.
Oh, that's nice.
Attacks.
So I was about to say, what happens if, like, because it's not equivalent because you're rolling a d12, not a d20. I was like, what if someone gets a critical on either end?
Yeah.
Like,
the other thing is that critical is a lot more common.
is it?
Yeah.
Why?
So because it's doubles.
Oh.
If you roll
that's
doubles,
right. Okay.
it's a critical success period. Double ones, critical success. Double twos, total. And so it's very fun. So you have like a lot of yeah. In which case I think that's like full damage plus your roll.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's how you could do like really fun maneuvers, and then you can narrate any way you want it to be, and get together and do these things. And so it really makes combat a lot of fun because of that.
Right.
I think because when all the things you want to do,
fun.
which before it was like, I'm dropping my initiative in D&D to go to this, and then I'd like to do this. And as a GM, you try to be creative and help people out with that. But it's really cool. So rewards the teamwork.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is nice.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think but yes, for those reasons, character creation, I think, just gives you all the things you need to do to make a really fun character. They give you some play tips, those types of things. And then what I was saying about like the plot moving along is so when you short rest and long rest don't kind of just happen. They happen whenever you want. So there's no like penalty for not taking a long rest so often.
Oh, so there's no exhaustion?
Not per se.
Not per se.
You do get stress and stuff, and so you do want to remove those, and you just decide when you want to replenish resources through short rest, long
That
rest.
makes sense.
And when you do, if you take a short rest, all my counters that I have for events and things that are going to happen in the game go up by 1. Take a long rest.
So you really like
they
it.
go up by 2.
So you really like it because you can try to kill people more.
What I like about it is that it puts in the player's hands how the timer. I'm not the one kind of going, yeah, that took 6 hours, that took 8. Yes, it's a day. Now you've missed this window. Now you've done this. Yeah. I hate that. And so what I really like is the idea that I go, cool.
Now Grimshield's healed all up and you're going to have to start from scratch. Oh, what?
Like, right. We're going to go ahead, like I could take my D4 here and I could say, sweet. So there's a counter of 4 that's going to happen. And the object that they're trying to find is going to switch locations. And up until 4, they're going to get information about where it is.
Right.
And then after 4, they get information about where it was. And then I might have a 2 timer that once it gets to the 2 timer on that after the 4 timer is when you then can begin collecting information on where it is now.
Sounds like we need to make you a whole bunch of little dice holders.
Yeah, I think so. So you can set this up. And what's cool about that, then again, I'm not advancing the timer. They are.
Yeah.
So they're going through encounters. Things are happening. They're trying to find their way through the world and making decisions. And if they expend resources and feel like they need a rest, that's fine. Just the timer goes up.
That's cool.
But until then, they could go down. They could RP for 3 hours if they want. I don't have to go, oh, that's 3 hours. Would they move there? It's just if they take a rest from it. And then the moves you take on your rest, you can go ahead and there's narrative cues, ideas like you help each other, like you sing a song or you tend somebody's wounds. And so you're doing these things in like kind of like the famous short rest, long rest conversations.
Right.
They happen in this context of a thing going on. So what I think Daggerheart system does very successfully is it marries the idea of RP moments, and every RP moment has a game forward or a game piece that moves ahead.
Okay.
Basically, you can always move forward, but you don't always move ahead. And so, so moving ahead with that.
If you're wondering why it looks like Matt's looking off screen 24/7, is he's looking at me over here.
Yeah, it's true. She's off the camera. But
I'm over here.
Yeah, you think the character creation provides more opportunities to make unique characters? I do. Yeah, I'd agree with that statement. I think characters differentiate each other by a lot. Like, coincidentally, I'm running beta test 1 now on Mondays. Earlier today, and some people have like a lot of similar stuff, but the characters and the way they use it feel super individualistic.
That's cool.
And very different. And so like if you subclass differently of the same primary one, you get 2 very different characters. So you really feel that. I would like that. The other kind of fun things, like I said, they kind of
make a were-platypus?
They kind of narrative everything. So that's a narrative. All your moves are narrative. The idea, this is more of a design. This is more of like what the GM's responsibility is. Would be whenever somebody makes a roll, you move the story forward. Someone says, I look at the chair, is the famous one, right? Everyone investigates, just 20 checks on the chair.
Like repairing armor. Yeah.
Like yeah, right. Exactly what I'm talking about. And someone says this chair, I want to look at the chair, and then go, fine, make a roll in the stupid chair. First of all, you could just say, I'm not having you roll. There's nothing wrong with the chair. But let's say you do.
It's a mimic.
Your commitment as a GM when you say go make a roll is that no matter what, something story-oriented happens.
Okay.
So if they succeed, the chair, they're going to find out, like, oh, this, even if something as simple as this chair was made with love and care, and you can see by the way that it was worn that this has seen many, many generations. And
I did not think you were going to say generations next, and I was real confused there for a second if you were going to say a naughty word.
And you can see where it's been worn down a family crest that's there, and it seems to be two dragons and whatever. And your eyes then go forward to the wall where that same crest has been carved, and some pieces look like they're sticking out, right? And so you can say now you get to go to secret passage because you looked at the chair.
That's cool.
Right. And narrative as a GM, showing how we make some hot dogs over here, but would be they're going to go in the house. I'm sure they're going to try to look at something. Whatever they look at is going to be the thing, in which they're going to get the clue to look at the thing that then does a secret passage. If they choose a glass, it's going to be the glass, and that type of deal. Now they get a success. If they fail, then you go, okay, you do this and you like lean on it and it breaks.
Oh, no.
And when it breaks, you feel a key. You see a key that was in here is also broken. And then you might be able to try kind of match that up. And with like Farrier, okay, you go to look, you think you see something, but at that time, the guards or enemies that have been pursuing you crash in and do a thing, right?
Okay.
So the story is going either to a negative turn, that maybe you're going to miss the thing because you did this, or it's going to go this turn. And then in the fight, as a GM, right, you can make it so that they get thrown through the secret wall in the fight, or when they kill somebody, they kind of goes through that. So you can, move this along, and you can really have them doing the story, but what the players are mostly in control of with their dice rolls is the narrative.
That's cool.
And I think that's really fun.
That's really fun. I like that. That's cool.
Oof. There's my thing.
There's your 38 minutes of
blah. Take a breath after that. Yeah, like you said, apparently. So, and then you might like this. There's like
tell me what I like.
I said you might. When you hit 0 HP, which is actually pretty. Art Department hit something. Let's be sure that's it.
I moved it and I hit it with my knee.
So.
And back!
When you hit 0 HP.
We hit 0 HP. That's what happens.
You get to do a death move. Which is, and again, this I like. So depending on your death move, you may have to roll dice. But it gives you again a sense of control. And again, this is the thing that you're going to find a lot with Daggerheart, is that the dice tell a story, but you are a much bigger partner with the dice than before, because I would say like the dice kind of was carving the path, or always carved the path in D&D. And so you'd be following the path, and if the dice did this way, then you just had to go where the dice were going. Cool. That's fine. But in Daggerheart, you and the dice keep having conversations. You're like, oh, I don't know about this. Let's go with this direction. Like it's a lot more partnering with the dice, as weird as that is. It's the best way I can describe it. So you get a death move, and like again, this is a beta test, but you like one way is you survive. You go, I choose to survive.
No, I choose to die painfully.
And if you can choose that, you roll your duality dice, which is the 2d12. And if I think sorry, you're one of your duality dice. And if you get a certain high number, and it changes on your level and stuff, if you roll high enough, you come out kind of okay. Explain like no matter what happens. If you roll too low, you get a scar, and the scar ultimately takes away one of your max hopes.
Ooh.
So you can't have as much hope for the rest of the game.
Wow.
Like you're done. Entire campaign.
That, though.
Your character is injured.
Shiny would have no hope.
Yeah. But what happens regardless is the situation gets noticeably worse.
Yeah.
So
someone's dying. Yes, it gets worse.
Well, what I'm saying is something narratively happens.
Okay.
So the person who went down, the GM agree on what narratively happens. So just in today's game, somebody went down, Nayland did, and we're like, what happens? And I go, what about, and it was werewolves. And I was like, what about they grab you and they get away with you back to their cave?
Yeah.
And she was like, what if I become a werewolf? I'm like, which one do you want? Player, choose. You become a werewolf or you becoming this? And she's like, let's go back to the cave. And so we did this cool narrative thing where now the other ones have to go find them. But again, if you kind of follow, yes, it went to 0, but then we came up with options for survival that then make the death narrative.
Does that mean I won't have to create as many minis?
Wow.
I'm
there's
down.
other death moves.
No, shut up. I'm down.
Another one is where you can you basically try to come back and get back to the action more or less.
Okay.
And you roll your dice, and if you roll, I think it's just you roll your duality. If hope is higher, you're back. If fear is higher, you're dead. I think that's risk it all.
Yep.
And then the other one that you can potentially do is Blaze of Glory, where you die, but you get to try to do something cool. So, that's like the Tony Stark, I'm Iron Man stand, right? That's like that type of Blaze of Glory type of deal, So, which I think is cool. So, because
cool.
A lot of times you get people who are kind of like, man, I'm done with this character and I'm ready for something new. I'd like them to go in a cool way. Or I'm okay if they go either way. In other words, they're ready to take that chance. And other times people just, I love this character. And even if I get these scars and they don't operate as much, that's totally cool. And so it really kind of lets the narrative kind of consequences.
All my scars are mental. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And again, as player, you get to choose it. You get to do all these things.
That's cool.
Yes, I take the dragon with me. And then you level up. You get a lot of cool stuff as you go up. Things putting your vault. There's a really cool ability trade system. Putting cards in a vault, then being able to pay to get the cards out of the vault to use again.
If you and the dragon die in battle, do you both go to Valhalla? That's gonna be awkward.
That'd be very awkward.
Sorry.
And then from a GM perspective, I've used the beta test enemies, and I really like them. They have really cool thematic abilities, and because you're not going as often, you can really make cool ones and ones that do really neat things. Like there's the beta test Gorgon or Medusa or whatever you want to call it, the stand-in for it. Basically, they have this petrifying stare, and of course, like eventually turns you to stone.
Right.
The counter that you have to not be turned to stone goes down every time anyone on your team takes an action. So it's not how many turns you take, it's how many turns are taken by the player characters. So the team has, like, let's say 4 moves. to fix the problem.
Wow. Nobody tell Julie. Julie has the highest count of being turned to stone.
Right. Whereas again, if we go down to regular, it's sort of like, well, everyone's turn, and then like you resist again, and then so
yeah, I like that.
And it also communicates really well, because before it was like they're this, and everyone's kind of like, wait, how many turns was how many saves, how many?
Yeah.
You just go, okay, you just went turn number 1, you just went turn number 2, boom, they're gone, goodbye, and everyone knows what's happening. They get to work together to do it, including you, by the way. Like you can go into that. So yeah. So when we're talking about kind of making this dagger table, but there's like this idea of having these sphere counters so people can see how many sphere points they have, as well as like maybe the action counters. People can kind of see what's going on the board. So the idea is like they would see what I'm doing a little more.
Yeah. Kind of like when we would stick a camera over when you would do like a tarot.
Yeah, like I was even thinking having something like, I'm going to just out of me, but like where like next to my desk here, where I'm rolling a dice right onto there. So there's like an interactive board.
Okay.
That is happening, because I feel like that, because that's Daggerheart, right? Daggerheart is, we're having a conversation.
It's kind of like if for Witchlight I wanted to make the happiness scale of the carnival.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Witchlight Dreams over here, that we have yet to have anyone play that campaign with us.
So love Witchlight.
She has made, not that I'm supposed to run one, she just made an entire Witchlight thing in case someone ever wants to run it, which has never happened.
To be fair,
there's like this case of Witchlight because you listened to a podcast that did Witchlight, and you were like, I have so many things that's going to make your this really cool.
I'm going to plug Avernus and Chill. You know, Avernus. I think it's called Avernus. Avernus and Chill is what they do afterwards. It's Avernus. I know Josh has seen it.
Oh yeah.
Because he modeled one of his characters after one of them. No, I love Wishlight because one, it's all fae fuckery. But two, because certain nights would be wonderful at it, because like you can talk your way out of almost every fight.
Oh yeah, it's totally combat optional.
I love it. It's combat optional, but I love like the mechanics of like you can't dick around in the carnival or the happiness meter goes down, and it's like and stuff like that. I love those little extra things. So I'm really excited about the hope and the
yeah, it kind of makes the campaign like
that. I love that, because that's something for me to like. I feel like I want to make a big wheel that you just spin it.
Yeah. Well, that would be really fun.
Right?
Like so we can make like a wheel of consequences.
Yes. We're going back to that store tomorrow. I need my backdrop and we're gonna get that big wheel.
We found the best art store ever the other
Oh my god, it's so cool.
It's like the crafter's dream, and we're like, we didn't know this was here.
They have like everything. It's like a crafts and a teacher's store, so they have all like the things you need if you're like have a teacher's room to set up. Yeah. Okay, I'm dorking out. I'm sorry.
That'd be really interesting, because you could kind of go. So especially if you make it so like, what is it? The ones that have like the magnetic slats that you can put over other ones and like dry erase them and stuff.
The one they had there was a big dry erase one.
Yeah, because it could really be like the name of the characters or backstory, like could be like person from their backstory comes in, death of mom, whatever, death of, there's like all these other things we could put right into there, and it's like,
girl, trust me, I am not allowed to go in there with my wallet because it would be a bad situation.
Oh yeah. But it could be something like, especially because I play where sometimes you have fear left over, so it could be like, I spend 3 fear to spin the wheel of consequences.
That could be a new little point or thing too. Spin the wheel. That's all it has to say. Spin the wheel.
Oh, it'd be really fun. Then we can have the hope wheel.
Yeah.
It could be like one of the things we can just add it. We're making our own Daggerheart rule. You can go ahead and spin the wheel of hope. You can spin the wheel of fear.
I am all.
I don't know if anyone in chat thinks this is a good idea. Please tell us.
The more chaos I can sow, the better.
I know.
What are you looking for?
Oh, what is this? Because we talked about these
Oh
big
yeah, we
ones
did
that
this.
we
Yeah,
were
I
doing.
broke the handle.
I know we've had issues kind of keeping this one together.
The handle will not stay together. We need to just
Yeah,
do like
or
a metal popper.
a gumball of dice that you can spin and it'll come out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've talked to different jams. A few have gone in a more of initiative because people need it. The other thing too is that not only can you go in any order by the play test, you can go 5 times in a row without anyone else going. And so I think that free form, to me, any table would be, it's a conversation. Hey, how would we like to handle this? How do we want all this to go?
Everyone's down for the wheel, Matt. We're gonna buy a wheel tomorrow.
To wheel of many things.
All right, but I'm not Vanna Whiting it when we.
Fortune's wheel.
Fortune's wheel. Gotta work on my Vanna White hands.
That'd be very funny. I don't know. Or maybe that's what the people get to spin in channel points.
That's what I'm saying. You put it in there.
Oh, it's channel points.
Put it in as a new little channel point button.
I was thinking of like
spin
open
the wheel.
fear. I guess just to spin the
Well,
wheel.
no, we can do open fear too. But like, what I'm saying
We'll
is,
check
if
and
they
spin the
put too much points in there, instead of like giving advantage and stuff, you can be like, spin the wheel.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Just saying.
That would be fun.
Light the gun door. We need to spin the wheel.
Yeah. I think all the other channel point options, it's just wheel spinning.
Yeah, just
That's all that you're allowed to do now.
I'm down. Spin the wheel.
That'd be really funny. It'd be like, because there's 8 things you could do, like 6 or 7 good things, then 1 or 2 of the bad guy gets.
Yeah.
Deal. It goes. Ah!
Just don't let me roll the dice or the pyramid comes down. You never let me live that down. Don't yawn. I just stopped
That's true.
yawning.
Use me.
I'm sleepy.
But
Well, now you got me. Now we gotta go to that store. We gotta buy a wheel.
Oh,
We gotta buy the backdrop.
I think that's basically. I think it gives basically a lot of the fun things about Deckerhart. And like I said, if it's something like you're, again, if you're thinking that, where you're trying to have D&D in its very nature be more narrative, I think Deckerhart's really the way that works. I mean, so much is kind of funny. You could really. I was a word saying this, but you could really take a lot of the concepts and just go, we're going to take all the cool things Deckerhart has like that and just put them on top of D&D.
Yeah.
And it would actually work really, really well. If you wanted to keep your class, subclass, some of the other features. But I think as Bob brings up, it would be really fun if D&D had more of a way to make. Well, I guess they did. They did make the subclasses a lot more unique in 2024.
Yeah.
I would say. Because like the warlocks feel different in ways they didn't necessarily before.
That's true.
But so I don't even go into any other, but that's so that's the big push. Big push. I got a lot of Dagonheart games listed starting the 20th or after the 20th weekends and such things. It looks like we're gonna have some openings in Obajima. We definitely have a
opening on Friday night.
Vecna. The Vikings are in winter. If anyone wants to help out with winter preparations, you can come in and then have some fun on Sunday. Planescape discovered a whole new world, and so there's room on the variation where people are getting mutated and all types of insanity.
Are they on Kaya? You fucker.
Who can say?
I told you to get the fuck off my planet. That planet belongs to Tonks and Bingles and Gidget. Get off.
They don't get a planet to themselves.
Yes, they do. They deserve to live in peace.
Yeah, 2 weeks of Balaka. There's been stuff.
So.
Shira's dead. Okay, what's going on? But yeah, trying to think. Of course, Tuesdays in the Deadlands.
Tuesday, just
with the totally priestess of.
She's totally a priestess.
Totally priestess of the Raven. Definitely not a necromancer. Yeah, those are I think those are the fun stuff. Trying to, see, I'm at Gen Con again. We're at Gen Con. Art department's at Gen Con.
Yeah, the little art department's coming.
Working with some Death Wish 5e, which is like very challenging. You could survive, but you probably won't. It's really meant to be highly tactical. What's with story stuff going around?
Got a whole bunch of little boxes back here of things I need to make and get busy with.
So I'm doing that. I think I've got five.
Five, I think, yeah.
I think it's probably six. Actually, I think about 6.
I'll be there.
Yeah, 6 sessions.
So a little art department.
Indeed, and then all the meetups and stuff. But with that, I think that is the end of our hangout. Unless there's more fun things in there.
I'm gonna remove the router again so that I don't hit it next time.
Yeah. What is the dogs? What does it say for art departments?
Well, at this time of night, I've got about as many brain cells as the dogs.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the fun thing because I remember it used to be like, I guess this direction, and now she's this direction. So.
Not when we film, I won't be. I'll be over there for minis.
Oh, that's true. But she has her work desk now. Because her work desk should be another room. Her work desk now is right next to me. So she could be listening to all the idiot stuff while she's painting and still make her sarcastic comments. So we can have more art department commentary on all games.
Just
that's a big
announcement. Needs.
This is more of her mouth in your ears.
Thursday, I might mute myself. I'm only allowed to swear once that night. Look, your fiance is off planning your honeymoon and your wedding. You just have to survive to see him again. Or you both got gated away and I'll make you a new mini, Bobby. Your choice.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that, Bobby, if you want to do
that. Very nice. So if there's any other, I don't know if there's people have questions, but I think that is fun. Oh, Egg wants to see the wedding.
Well, yeah, so maybe Nazan has to go and he has to plan with his husband. It's a 2-person planning job.
That's very true. That barbarian has helped.
It's true.
The night. We need someone to come play. Be barbarian. Be fighter. Be paladin, please.
Look, I'm a cleric through and through.
Live out your world tree, barbarian and dreams. Come to Vecna. We have only the front line. I don't know. Oh, we got here. Maybe I should switch to Punchy Silver instead. I don't know. I have to see how it operates.
At least he waited till after Grimshaw. Or not Grimshaw, sorry.
Send his brother to help out. I'm calling my brother, says Nazan. Oh my gosh. That's very crazy. Yeah, that's party change up.
It is, yeah. That's hard too when you get there. Luckily you guys just finished the heist, right?
Yeah, so we're ready to go to a new world.
It's a good time to trade people out.
It is. It is like narratively, this would be preferable.
Oh man, I gotta get that machine up so I can finish this next chapter for you guys, so you can skip the entire battles again.
If they did it, they probably would have died. They're supposed to think of how to do this.
Look, You have your fun with mine. I like to kill people. See, that's perfect. All right, we got wedding. Bye. Weddings are stressful. You don't need to be trying to kill a god while planning a wedding.
Yeah, we realize the entire multiverse is about to collapse, but we've got wedding plans.
Yeah. Look, they already saved one multiverse by, like, you know, not letting what's his Aslan, whatever the hell his name is. I know it's not Aslan. I don't care. Not, like, you know, destroy everything. I think one god per lifetime is enough.
Those are hackers. Little
Half god, whatever. Go to bed.
All right, y'all. For anyone hanging out with us, thank you so much. It was good talking, and hopefully, well, we'll see. Well, hopefully we don't have a lot of these because I want a playable Jima. Which, by the way, is a delightful setting and so much fun. But thank you all for hanging, and we will see you all in your games or in the Discord. Have a good one.
Nighty night, y'all.